In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to build this dashboard. It couldn't be simpler, so it's perfect for beginners. Let's go. To build and deploy this dashboard, it's done in 5 steps. The first is to bring the data in and do the data modeling. The second step is to build the individual elements. That means building the pillboxes, the pie charts, the bar charts, and the waffle chart. The third step is to build the dashboard itself. That means bringing all your elements together. The fourth step is styling, which is one of my favorites. That means bringing in the background, looking at the color themes, looking at the spacing, and making sure it looks really attractive. The last step is deploying it to Tableau Online or to Tableau Public so we can share it with the world. As always, it starts with the data itself. So if you want to follow along, check the link in the description below. That'll take you to my website, Jellyman Education, where there's heaps of training for you. It will take you to this page. And if you scroll down, you're going to see this coming from YouTube section. And you simply click the image or you click the download file. It will take you to this Google Drive and you simply download it with this button at the top. And once you do that, you have the files. Once you've got your files, as you can see here, you'll get 3 files. One is the dataset itself. You've got a text file, which we'll go through later, and the background that we'll use for the styling. For now, we're going to bring in the dataset into Tableau. So you can see Tableau desktop behind me. I'm going to drag it and drop it in, and that's going to connect the two. It's going to feed that data into Tableau, and we are pretty much ready to go. So from here, we're going to click Sheet 1 at the bottom, and that's going to take us into design mode. And there you have it. So the first element we're going to be building are these pillboxes right here. Now, the secret to this is actually there is a circle here, and then a bar in the middle. So we have to build all those individual elements to get that kind of look. Now, you can bring it in as an image, but it gets a little bit annoying to manage it that way. So it's easier just to use inbuilt stuff with Tableau. So let's go back to our dashboard. So now you have the data set loaded. And what we're going to do is bring in the treatment type. So I'm going to go treatment type and drop it into columns. Okay, that's our starting point. And then we're going to select entire view here, and that just stretches it for the whole screen. Next, we need the 2 circles on end to end. So the way you're going to do that is here we're going to create a formula. So I'm going to right click here in the white space, go create calculated field, and I'm going to call this minimum. And I'm going to go 0. And this will make more sense in a little bit why we're doing this. So it's literally just 0. That's it. And all that does is it creates 0 for every row. So okay. Then we're going to do another formula. I'm going to call this maximum. I'm going to call it 1. That's it. And so 0 will be the first circle, and then 1 will be the second. There we go. Now, in order to do this, we actually have to use something called measured values. And that's so that we can put all these individual pieces together. And the way you do it is, if you see here on the bottom, you'll see measured values. And when you double click this, it's going to bring all your measures in. It's going to look kind of a little bit ugly at first, but that's fine. So I'm going to double click that. And what it does is it creates this bucket of all the measures, but we're not interested in all of them. So we're going to get rid of all of these ones. We don't need any of that. So we can just get rid of them one by one, like so. Or you can click the first one, hold shift, click this 5th one and press delete. That's another way to do it. Okay, next step is we want to bring the measured values in here because we want it to be an actual axis. So let's bring measure values into the columns. And if you're not super familiar with measure values and measure names, it is a little bit confusing for, super first timers. I do teach this in my course on my website. I think it's in the intermediate course or something for Tableau, so be sure to check that out. We don't need the measure names because we already have treatment type, so we're going to go measure names, get rid of that. And that is what we should have so far. Now, we don't want these to be a sum because we're actually just interested in the 0 and 1 number. So we change these to attribute. Attribute, attribute. And you can see here on the axis, it's now changed from 0 to 1. Now, it still doesn't look like anything. We have to switch this to a circle. And once you do that, you'll see the 2 circles on the end, and that'll give the curved bit on the pill. Now we need the actual bar in the middle, and we can actually use maximum again and just drop it into columns. And when you have two sets of measures like that, it's going to split. So you're going to have this one, which is the first one we made, and then the sum of maximum is here. But once again, we're not interested in the sum, we're just interested in its value, which is 1. So we're going to change this one to attribute as well. Okay, now again, still doesn't look like anything, bear with me. So on this second pill, and for the formatting here, you want to switch this to bar, like so, right? And then we're going to just reduce the height of it a little bit. Okay, we're going to tweak this later on anyway, so just clicking on that size and dropping it. Doesn't matter where it is at this stage. The next is we're going to right click this one and go dual axis, and that puts it all on the same axis. So now we can have the 2 dots and the bar on the same one. So you're probably wondering, like, why wouldn't you put the bar and the dots all in the same thing? Why couldn't you just put the bar in measure values? That's because you can't control the visualization type when they're all in measure values. So if they're in there, they're either all circles or they're all bars. Okay, so we're going to dual axis. Okay, again, doesn't look like anything just yet. We have to synchronize the 2 axes so that they all fall on the same thing. So I'm going to right click here, or basically any axis that you have, and we're going to go synchronize axis. There you go. And now you can kind of see the beginnings of it. You can see like a circle here, and the bar in the middle. Now, before we start tweaking how it's all going to look like, and don't do this next step, this is just to demonstrate to you kind of what we're aiming to get to. If I bring this into a dashboard, and don't do this step, this is just for a demo, so you can kind of already see it coming together. So once we've done a bit more formatting and we get rid of the labels and everything like that, if I start tweaking the sizing, and again, you don't have to do this just yet, this is just for demo, you start to see it gets closer and closer to a pillbox, and we simply start coloring it and putting the labels in correctly. Okay, so here on the bar, so for this one and this one, we are now going to add the actual label inside. So to do that, we simply bring treatment type into label. All right, and then we're just going to align this, make sure it's in the middle, like so. Okay, so text, 3 dots, alignment, and just clicking these center justified. That's it. So that's the first element pretty much built. The next element we're going to build are these donut charts. So whenever you have a dashboard where you have elements that are the same, so these are all donut charts, they're all the same size. To save you a lot of time, you want to build the first one, duplicate it, and then tweak it. Okay, so let me show you how that works. So we're going to go in and bring in gender. So I'm going to create a new sheet. So in order to do a donut chart, we have to do a few steps. First is we have to build the pie chart itself. The easiest way is if you bring in the field that we're interested in, so gender, let's say, and you just drop it into columns. Now we need some sort of measure. So in here, I believe it is the patient ID count. So if I just open this up, let's just have a confirm it. Okay, so it's a patient ID count. So here we can right click drag. So using the right click button on the mouse, I'm going to right click it into rows, and I'm going to go count. Okay, so if you don't know how to do the right click, or you're using a Mac or you're having issues, the other way to do it is simply double click patient ID. The only problem is it's going to display every ID first, and then you go right click, measure, and then count. The reason we don't do this in practice, especially when your data sets get really large, you can imagine a table that's 100 million rows, 100 million columns or rows, trying to display every single point. So the right click drag method skips that step and goes straight into the aggregate, and Tableau is optimized for aggregation. That's why it performs so much better that way. And as you can see, now we have 2 bar charts for gender, patient ID. Literally doesn't matter where you put things at this step. Okay, we just want a dimension and a measure. From there, we click on show me, and you want to select this pie chart. And from there, you now have the most basic pie chart, as you can see here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger so we have something to deal with. And you can see it's kind of locked into this top left corner, we want it to take up the whole space. So we're going to go entire view. Okay, it's a little bit big. It's like I've never had a pie chart shout at me before. Okay, so there is the most basic part of it. Now to make this a donut chart, really a donut chart, if I get my drawing tool, is just this circle with another circle inside. So we just need to create a second circle. And the way you do that for Tableau is we create a calculated field and we're just going to call it donut 1. That's it. So it's a little bit of a trick to create duplicates of this pie. Okay, so if I now bring in donut into columns, it's going to try and aggregate it because it's a measure. We're not interested in the aggregation. We're just interested in the value itself. So go attribute. Okay, and what that does is it's basically put the pie, and let me go back to my square tool. It's put the pie on number 1, which is the value that we set. So if I duplicate this to another one, it will create 2 pies. That's it. So the way to do that is you hold Control and you move it over here. That's it. So that duplicates it. Another way is if you double click it and open it, you go into edit. It's called edit in shelf. And if we copy this, okay, click outside. And if you double click on this space, you can create a new formula and you can go paste and enter. That's another way to do it. So now you see we have 2 donuts. When we do a dual axis, which is what we're going to do, it's going to place this one on top of this. So in order for this to work, this left one must be slightly bigger than the one on the right. Okay, so before we do that, let's adjust the formatting. So here on this second measure, we actually don't need a lot of this stuff. So we're going to get rid of patient ID, this patient ID, we don't need the counts, and we just want to move gender into label. Okay, and what that does is split them, but actually that's not what I want. What I actually want is the label just inside. But the problem is if you put in gender, it's going to want to split it. So another way to do it is to actually just write a label. But you can't write a label unless there's actually something there. So again, we do another cheat. I'm going to bring donut into label. Okay, and all that's done is just put a number there. But what we're going to do is if you click on label, we're going to customize it and go click on these 3 dots. And we're simply going to call this gender. Okay, we'll do a little bit of styling. So bold, 11, let's see how that looks. Yeah, that'll do. And go OK. All right, now we're going to change this to white. So color, white. It's going to sit inside. And for this first donut here, which is controlled by this one, we're just going to increase its sizing. Okay, and that will just make the pie a little bit bigger. Doesn't have to be perfect at this stage. Okay, all right, there you go. And we're going to do a dual axis now to overlay them. So I'm going to right click this one and go dual axis. And it's going to go like that. And you can see now we have a donut. We do want to add the counts here. So the way we do that is we simply duplicate this count into label. That's it. So I'm going to hold Control. I'm going to click this count patient ID and drop it into label. And that just adds the numbers for me. And that is pretty much it. Okay, in terms of actually building the donut. I'm going to get rid of these axes for now. So the first thing we're going to do is right click the axis and go synchronize. That just makes sure that they don't misalign later for any reason. So I'm going to go synchronize. Then we're going to right click, get rid of this header. And there you have it. So we still have this little box around it, but we're going to clean that up a little bit later. If I now go into the dashboard, you don't have to do this part. You can see our donut is coming together. But the reason we don't do the styling and the sizing now is because until we've decided on the shape and the size of the dashboard, you're going to have to do multiple steps in terms of sizing. So it's better to just build the visualization, okay, the element, figure out the dashboard and where it's going to sit. Once you know where it's going to sit, then you start tweaking it so it fits. So we're not even going to build the other 3 just yet. Because that's as simple as duplicating it and changing it from gender to something else. We're going to duplicate that once we get to dashboard mode. The next element we're going to build is the age range with the bar chart. So let's jump over to the other one. All right, so I've created a new sheet once again, and this is pretty straightforward. We're going to start with the measure first. So here it's going to be patient ID. I'm going to right click drag and drop it into rows and go count. That's it. So that tells me there's 100 patients. Once again, if you don't want to do the right click drag, I think on Mac it's the command button, I think. You can always double click patient ID, right click the pill and go measure, count, right? A little bit more inefficient, but it'll work. So from there, we just need to split this measure now using age range. Now there is a age field here. Okay, that gives the individual ages in case you want to build your own dashboard, but the one we're interested in is the range. So I'm going to go in here, drop it into columns, and now you have your age range. You can see it's the same one. Okay, so now we're going to space this out. We're going to go entire view. Again, we're not worried about the styling just yet. We just want the elements of roughly how things are going to look and feel. So now we want the patient ID count on top as well. And here's a little trick. If you hold Control, we're going to duplicate this one into label. Okay, so I'm going to hold Control, duplicate it into label. The other advantage of this is, if you're not familiar, we can actually do additional adjustments to this pill. So beyond just count, you know, we can do percent of total, difference, you can do all these things. You can go in and customize it. So you can get very intricate when it comes to modifying what this measure actually is. Now, the reason I always say to duplicate this into here is because what you're seeing, okay, what you're seeing here as a measure is this one. And it's very easy to forget what we've done to this. So by duplicating it into here, you are building somewhat of a quality gate to make sure you're bringing in the right value. Okay, there we go. And we're going to drop in just the measure for the color. So again, we're going to hold Control and we're going to move this count once again into color. So I'm going to hold Control, move this one into color. That creates a new one. And now you can see we've got some shading. And because we have labels now, we don't need this axis. I'm going to go show header. And we don't even need this one at the top either. So I'm going to go hide field labels for columns. There you go. So the more you take away, the cleaner it looks because there's less for your brain to process. The last element we're going to build is this visualization right here, which is sometimes called a waffle chart. So let's head over to the other workbook. All right, so to build the individual squares, if you bring patient ID into rows, it's actually going to give you it in row format, which we're not interested in. So you want to move patient ID into detail right here. That's actually where you want it. So let me drag that and put it into detail. And now you have your, itty bitty squares. So we're going to increase the size. And again, the size doesn't matter all that much because we're going to tweak it later once we get to the dashboard. Then we want to add some color. So we're going to use response to treatment and we're going to drop that into color like so. All right, so now we've got them split up. So complete response and so on. Okay, now we're going to add the text formatting in here. And here's how you do it. So if I go into this other one, okay, we want alive or dead abbreviation. So we're going to go alive or dead abbreviation and we're going to drop that into label. And again, don't worry what it looks like at the moment. Okay, when it does that, we just want to go from automatic into square again. Okay, so now we've got the label in there. Don't worry about what it looks like at the moment. We're going to tweak that in a second. Then we also want gender abbreviation. Again, same thing, drop it into label. Okay, looks super ugly at the moment. Don't worry. Placebo or actual drug. And again, it's the abbreviation one. There you go. So you can see all three letters are in there. And for the styling, we want it in the middle. Okay, yep. So we're going to go here into label. And for the alignment, we're going to put it right in the center. Okay, so that now puts it in the center. Now we want to adjust the text inside. So clicking on label, 3 dots. And here we're going to go, what was the alive or dead? State. So this one is actually here. So state, the top one is gender, okay, and the last one is drug. Okay, there you go. I'm just gonna put it like this, so there's a space in between. Now if you accidentally delete one, let's say you do this, the way you bring it back is if you click insert, you're gonna go placebo or actual drug. Okay, and that brings it back in. We're gonna go apply, and you can see it now in the back. We're gonna increase this drug one to 11, or maybe too big, let's go 10, just so it stands out a little bit. Okay, click outside, and we're done. So if, and again, don't do this step. If I go into dashboard, let's just see roughly how it's gonna look. I'm just gonna space this out. Again, we're gonna do this together, don't worry. I just wanna show you kind of how it looks on the dashboard itself. Okay, there you go. Okay, so you can see it's all already starting to come together.
So before we continue, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone that watches the content. Be sure to check out the Jellyman education website. There is a 2-month free coupon in the description below. It is absolutely free with that coupon for 2 months. So you just go in, sign up, enjoy the content. And if at the end of the 2 months you're not interested, just cancel, no big deal. The advantage of the site versus on YouTube, YouTube is just a video. But on the site, it's a learning management system. So you can actually enroll into individual courses. You can track your progress. It'll track what you're up to. You'll be able to get downloadables. In addition to just the simple files in YouTube that I give you, you also get a lot more assets in these lessons. So for example, you get a huge image collection. There'll be extra downloadables. There's a whole bunch of ebooks. There's like cheat sheets that you can get. There's other portfolios that you can see. If I just scroll down here, there's heaps of other courses, and I'm building more and more as I go. And it covers a wide range of topics. And once you enroll, once you sign up, you get access to everything. It is that simple.
Now that we've got all our elements, it's time now to build the dashboard. So I'm going to get rid of my one, and we're going to build it from scratch. So here at the bottom, to create a dashboard, it's just this button here. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is decide on the ratio of the dashboard, because once you put elements in and you start tweaking the dashboard, it will move everything. So here we want it to be fixed size 1600 by 900, and the reason for that is because the background image we're going to be using is 1600 by 900. Okay, so now let's bring in the individual elements. I haven't renamed the sheets. I probably should, but we're not doing any actions or filters, so it's not going to matter all that much. The other thing is, if you're new to dashboards or you kind of find it a little bit unwieldy, the easy thing to do is switch this bottom part to floating, and that just prevents it from going into this kind of tiled mode that beginners just aren't really used to or they don't like. Some people get used to it and then they don't like floating. Just kind of depends what your background is. So now let's put the elements where they're roughly going to be. So if I bring in the pillbox, we know it's going to go to the right here. We'll get rid of this legend. Okay, it's roughly there. Okay, and to get a better feel for this, we're going to just clear out some of this stuff. So let's get rid of this header. We'll get rid of, and let's get rid of the other one, and let's get rid of this label there, and then this one as well. So get rid of show header. Okay, so this is roughly where it's going to go. Okay, the next one is the donut. So the donut goes around about here. Get rid of these labels. Don't need them. So you can see already the label is a little bit too big for what we need. So we know that's something we have to adjust. And we know there's going to be 2 other donuts here. Okay. So next one is the age. Let's bring that in here. Okay. That's look pretty good. I'd say the bars are a little bit too thick. Okay. And the last one is the waffle. So roughly about there. Okay, and we're going to go entire view, and there you go. Next, let's bring the text in here. So to do that, there is a text object here that we simply drag and drop. Bring that in here. Okay, and for the text, it's this one here. So it'll be the file that you download, it'll be this page title one. So you simply copy this, paste it in here. Okay, we're just gonna make it black just so we can kind of see it a bit better. We'll make this heading bold and maybe 18 and go okay. And again, it's just a placeholder. We're just seeing roughly where things are gonna fit, okay? And there you go. So that's kind of the first stage of building your dashboard. We are now at the dashboarding stage, which means we can start bringing all the elements together and start figuring out where they're gonna go. So let's go over to this dashboard. And this is the one I was just kind of showcasing on. I'm gonna delete it so we start from scratch. So to create a dashboard, we simply go here, select this one, and that will create a dashboard, okay? And the idea is, for our one, it's gonna be about that large, 1600 by 900, we'll set that here in a second. We're gonna have the waffle here, and then in this one, we're gonna have a container, and within the container, we're gonna have all the individual elements like this. And the reason we use a container is just so it's more evenly spaced and we can control it a lot better. And that's what makes it look really refined. So let's start with the sizing. So here on size, I'm gonna go fixed size, and here for width, we're gonna go 1600 by 900. Okay, there we go. And we're gonna start bringing the elements in. So let's start with the waffle. So be sure to set this to floating just to make your life a little bit easier. So we're gonna bring this in here. And don't worry too much where it's gonna go. Rough, it's just gonna be very rough. So around about half here, like so. We're gonna set this up here to entire view, and that'll just maximize everything. We can still adjust the size later. The other one is we need a container here. So to do that, here on the bottom left, you're gonna see vertical container. So let's bring that in. Oh, there we go, like so. And then we're gonna bring in the individual elements. So here is going to be, all right, so this part, see how it's still floating? It doesn't wanna go inside the container. So the way to get out of that is you can switch back to tiled view, like so. And when you do that, it drops into the container, right? The alternative is if you leave it in floating and you bring it over, a trick to switch on the fly between tiled and floating is just pressing the shift button. So you can see that, shift, and it means you can drop it in. It means you don't have to keep switching them, okay? The next one is the donut. Okay, now for the donut, we're actually gonna have 3 sets of donuts. So we actually need a container within the container to split that up. So the way we do it is get rid of this donut. We're gonna go in here and look for horizontal container, and we're gonna add that into the other container. Let's do that. So again, if it's floating, as you can see, hold shift, and I can add it to the bottom, like so, and we just resize it, as you can see. Now let's bring in the donut, so sheet 2, holding shift, dropping it in. Now as placeholders for the donut, I'm gonna use this blank object. And that'll allow us to determine the sizing of the first donut and then duplicate later. So I'm gonna bring in blank, again holding shift, and you can see it's dropping inside that second container. I'm gonna do it one more time, because we're gonna have 3 donuts. You can see there they are there. And you don't have to do this part. I'm just gonna add a border so you can roughly see where they're gonna go, okay? Now, the other thing is, for this container, see how they're not evenly spaced? Like for example, if I do that, it gets very annoying or very difficult to really size them perfectly. So all we do is select any element in a container and double click the handle. So when you double click this, it's gonna select the container it's in, like so. Click the triangle and go distribute contents evenly. And now you don't have to try, it will automatically be spaced out evenly. So already from the looks of it, I'm like, okay, the donut looks pretty good. Let's go back into dashboard. And the last one is the age. So I'm gonna bring in sheet 3 on the bottom, and there we have it, okay? There you go. And I'm just gonna size this. Now, if you want to size this one, sometimes it's a little bit funny, so just switch between the individual or the container, whichever one works for you, okay? So there's that, and then we also need that text section on the top. So the way we do that is add this text object, and just add it to the very top. Again, if I'm in floating, I can hold shift. Right now, one thing you'll notice, see on the back, there's actually a bunch of containers. So before we do that, let me show you something. See here, all this stuff. Tableau does that automatically when you're adding legends. You can see there's actually legends there. I'll just show you. So if I, can I bring it to the front? No, I can't. I just want to show you quickly. You don't have to do this. I think there's one more container. There it is. So what you want to do is, for this container, you just want to get rid of it. Okay, I can't even bring it to the front, but just start with this one. So double click the handle, press X, delete all the containers, delete this container. And because we got floating, they're not going to interfere, but now it's nice and clean. All right, let's try it again. Let's bring the text in here. So holding shift. Okay, so what do you put in the text? In the data source, you're going to see this file, page title. So if you open that up, you're going to get this text. So I'm just going to copy this in here, like so. And we're going to hit, okay, actually, let me just make this title a bit bigger, 20, and bold, let's say, and go okay. All right, so now we've got a bit of a placeholder for the text. Now we have to decide how everything is going to be spaced out and how it's going to roughly look. But in terms of where things are going to go, that's pretty much it. All right, now let's start cleaning up the formatting a little bit. So here in sheet 1, we're going to call this treatment type. So the way to adjust the title is you can just double click, and that'll open up this window, or we can right click and go edit title. We're going to call this treatment type. I'm going to do it in capitals actually. Treatment type. Let's go bold, and let's go 12 maybe. That looks pretty good. Here in the age, we're going to call this age range. Again, capitals, bold, 12. Okay. And then for the donuts, I don't think we had titles. Yes, because it actually already says gender inside. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to hide this title. And there we go. See how it fills out. Now let's just tweak it until we're happy with the sizing. Here we go. All right. So here we're going to increase this font a little bit. So we're going to double click the text. Let's make this maybe 11, and we'll make the title a little bit smaller, maybe 18. Okay, that's looking a lot better. In the treatment type, it's time to get rid of all the borders. So I'm going to right click on this white space. I'm going to go format. Now there's a bunch of steps that we have to do to get rid of everything. There's a lot of lines in there. Let me just deselect that. First, we're going to go into this borders section in sheet, and we're going to look at these two. Okay, row divider, column divider, and we're going to just simply go none. And you can see things are now starting to disappear. The rest are grid lines. So grid lines is this last one. You can see here, that's the grid lines one. And we're going to turn off a whole bunch of this stuff. So I'm going to turn off the 0 lines. Okay, we're going to turn off the axis tick marks. I don't think that's even in there. That's fine. And these vertical ones are actually column grid lines. So we're going to click on column and turn this one off. So you can see now it's super clean. Now we're going to go into this dashboard to adjust the color so it matches up with this one. Okay, so we're going to go into treatment type, and the easiest way is activate that viz and click on that button right there, and that'll take you directly to this visualization. All right, so here in all, we're going to get rid of this measure name, so we want to do the coloring ourselves. So let's get rid of that first. So now everything should be the same color. We're going to color it by treatment type. So let's drag treatment type into this color. Make sure you're in the all section so it applies to everything. Okay, treatment type into color. All right, so the way Tableau works, when you use a certain field for color, it's going to use the same color designation every time you use it throughout the whole workbook. And this just avoids people misreading data because you've accidentally changed the colors on something. Now, in terms of the coloring, if I go back here, see how everything's like a shade of red. So here in the color, we can go edit colors. If you haven't got the legend there, the other way is simply click on color and go edit colors. And in here for the palette, if you go all the way down, you'll see lightning watermelon. If you haven't got that for whatever reason, you can always just go red and do different colors. So for example, this first one will be a lighter one, this will be a slightly darker, and it'll just get progressively darker. That's one way to do it. Yeah, another way, let's say I put it back to the original. I can go to red, and instead of doing it manually, I can just press assign palette, and it will automatically do it. See? That's a little bit easier. Or I can go lightning watermelon, assign palette. That's another way to do it. I'm gonna go with lightning watermelon. You can choose which one you like and go okay. All right, you see that's already looking pretty good. If I go back to the dashboard, let's see what it looks like. Yeah, very nice. Now let's go into this waffle one. We're gonna get rid of the title. We don't need a title for this, like so. And I'm gonna apply the same coloring for treatment type. So let's go in here. Now this one is actually response to treatment. So let me just double check, make sure they're the same coloring. This is treatment type. Actually, they're two different color types, so that's fine. Let me go back here. All right, so here, we're gonna do the exact same thing. So colors, edit colors. We're gonna go into the red, so lightning watermelon for me, and simply assign palette, like so, and hit OK. There you go, and go dashboard one. You can see things are now starting to come together. For this age range, we're gonna do the same thing. So you can see age range down there. Let's open this viz. So I'm gonna go to sheet. Now you can see here, there's actually borders and lines, completely useless since we already have all the other stuff in there. So I'm gonna right click and go format. Then we're gonna go into the border section once again, and this part right here. Oh, this one's actually already off. So they're really just grid lines at this point. Let me just double check. Yep, so let's go into grid lines, and we're gonna turn off the axis rulers. Okay, we're gonna go into rows. So these are row grid lines, and we're gonna turn this off. You see now it's completely clean. As for the color, we're gonna switch it to a red. So colors, edit colors. You know, when you've done this enough time, it's pretty easy. I mean, this is not super complicated stuff. We're gonna go into size and just reduce the width as well. Okay, so just give it a little bit more breathing room. And we're gonna go into dashboard one. All right, you can see it's all now starting to come together. Let's now add the padding. So before we actually do the donut, we have to make sure the padding is right. So the padding is all the spacing in between the visualizations themselves. So let's activate this first one. Let's go into layout. And in here, if you scroll down, you're gonna see padding. So I'm gonna go inner padding. Let's try 15. Yeah, that looks good. 15, let's do this one, 15. And you wanna just do it for all of them. And let's see how it looks. So even this one is gonna have some padding. This one's gonna have some padding. And let's see how everything looks. I would probably reduce this a little bit. You can see this is see how much it shifts and changes. So you really don't want to play with that too soon. Okay, treatment type. Okay, and you just keep adjusting until you're happy with it. Drop this one. Give the donuts a little bit more space. I think that is good. All right. So now here that we have treatment type, and make it a little bit bigger, we now have to adjust each of these to make it fit a little bit better. So I'm going to go into treatment type, and I'm going to start with this circle. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger and just do little by little here. Let's go half, and you just kind of have to switch back and forth. A little bit more. There you go. I reckon that's pretty good. Now we adjust the bar, so this one, and make this a little bit thicker. So in here, because everything's shifting, you're not going to be able to tell in here. Yeah, a little bit more. It's really getting there. Just enough that you don't see that kind of, you can't tell it's a circle. Yeah, that's a little bit too much. Oh, just a smidge. There we go. See how nice that looks? See how good that looks? All right. The age range is good. Everything else I'm pretty happy with. Now it's time to do this donut. So with the inside one, I reckon it already looks pretty good. We're just going to reduce the outside one. So let's go in here, go to sheet. So the outside one, all right, so remember the circle inside is this one. That means the outer one is this one here. So let's adjust that. And we're going to reduce the size just until we're happy with it, around about there. We're also going to get rid of all these lines on the outside. Format. Okay, we're going to go into the border section again. And again, it's always the same one. Row divider, column divider. Get rid of that. Now into the grid lines. And again, it's the same thing. We're just getting rid of all these extra lines that we don't need. So get rid of the 0 line. And in the columns, that vertical grid line. And as you can see, the more you take away, the more your visualization shines through. Let's go into dashboard 1. So you can see that fits perfectly. All right, so now it's time to adjust this color. So we're gonna go back to the sheet. I'm gonna go into color. So you don't adjust it for the whole thing. It's only for that pie in the back. So it's this one here. Okay, so color, edit colors. And again, we're gonna look for that red and go assign. Now I want the male one to be a lot darker, just so you can kind of distinguish between the two. And actually I've got them in reverse. This one will be the dark one, this will be the light one. There we go. And go okay. Let's see how it's looking. Yeah, looking a lot better. So now what we do is, now that we're happy with this, we simply duplicate it 3 times. Okay, so here we're gonna duplicate. So the way to do that is up here, you're gonna see this button. Zoom in one more time. That duplicates the sheet. So click on that, 1, 2, okay. And now if we go to the other one, let's see which ones they were. So it's alive or dead and placebo or drug. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna change these names. So here in the second donut, we're gonna call this text, 3 dots, we're gonna call this alive or, and I'm gonna put it on the second line and go apply. Let's see how that looks, okay? So very systematic, let's do that one. And the other one is placebo or drug. Where is it? Gender, oh, this one. Here we go. So this one, label, text, placebo, and we're gonna go or drug, okay? So now we've got that in there. So that's just the label. We actually have to adjust the way it cuts. So in this one, it's alive or dead. We're gonna go into this first one here, and we're just gonna replace this gender one. Okay, so this one's gonna be alive or dead. And the easiest one to do is, an easier way to do it is just take this one and replace it over this. So the way you do it is just click and drag, and you'll see a little black line go around it. Not this orange triangle, just a black line. And if you drop it on top, it will replace. Okay, that's all you have to do, and everything else is the same except for the color. So we're just gonna go back here. We'll adjust the color again. This one is the darker one. This one is the lighter one. Okay, there we go. Do it one more time. So this is placebo or drug. We're gonna go here, placebo or drug, and just replace this gender one again. You can see how much time we save by doing it that way. Edit colors. Go to the right. So you can see everything just repeats, and it's like with anything else. Just practice, practice, practice. You do it enough times, just practice, practice. Okay, there we go. And now if we go into dashboard 1, you see you have these elements. Leave them in there for a second. Don't get rid of them. And the reason is it's much easier to slot it in between and then get rid of these boxes later. So it's gender and then alive or dead placebo. Okay, let's bring the first one in. Again, see it's in floating, so hold shift. Alive or dead, and let's bring the last one in. Okay, we don't need these titles, so hide title, hide title. Now you can get rid of these blanks. Get rid of that, and it just makes it easier. You can see it's actually added all these legends, so just click on that and get rid of it, like so. And you got this other container that brings it up. Okay, there we go. I mean, in terms of the styling and spacing, I'm pretty damn happy with that. Let's check it with the other one. Yep. And I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. Okay. We're actually gonna adjust this waffle sizing. It's a little bit big for me. So in here, we're gonna go size and just drop it just a little bit. A little goes a long way for this part. So you can see here, it doesn't fill on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to expand it just a little. There we go, until it just fills out. You see it's a lot fuller now, like so. And we're just going to tweak each container. So in here I'm going to double click. Now I'm highlighting the whole container, and let's just make this a little. See how much easier it is to size when it's all in a container? There's less small movements, right, of lots of little things over and over. And so we're just going to leave it there just until it's nicely spaced. All right, so that's the next part. So you can see it's really coming together. We're really not that far off now. All right, we are nearing the end of the styling. This is kind of one of my favorite parts because when you put the background, it kind of just completes the look. All right, so to bring an image in the files that you downloaded, you'll have this pill background, okay? So here in the objects, you're gonna see image right there. So we're gonna bring that object in, and again, we're in floating mode for the moment, and just bring it right into the middle. It's gonna bring up an automatic dialog box, and we're gonna go choose, and now you're gonna look for that image. Okay, so let's see, where did I put it? Yep, there we are for me. Or if it's in the Google Data, it'll look like that for you. So pill background, open. Then we're going to go center image. I'm going to go OK. So now we have it there. So to place it correctly or easily, remember that the ratio of the page is 1600 by 900. And so is this image on purpose, okay? Just so it fits perfectly. When you go to layout, be sure to be selecting this, and you can tell because there's a handle on it. In the position, just go 0 for X, 0 for Y. That puts it in the top corner. And then for the size, make it the same ratio as the page. So 1600 by 900. This will overlap everything. It'll go on top of everything, which is what you want. Okay, see, it's perfectly to the edge. Then when you've activated it, you're going to see this little button come up. And if it's not here, depending on your screen, sometimes it's in the top corner or bottom corner or wherever, just look for this little one, right? And you're gonna get this, or I believe you can just right click on the image. Go floating order and, you know, get ready for this. We're gonna go send to back. Bang, right? So now you can see the feel is coming together. There's a lot of white still in the back, so we're gonna get rid of that. So the way to do it is just right click on this viz, go format. I click on the white space, and here on the paint can, and this is going to be the same for every single one, this paint can, we're going to set this to none. All right, so it's going to be transparent. So none. And because we're already in here, a little shortcut is you can keep right clicking on format, but because we're already on this page, we can simply just left click, and now we're applying this formatting to this viz. So we turn this one off, we turn this one off, and I just noticed this one has padding and the others don't, so we'll fix that in a second. So none, none, and this last one, none, okay? So now we're just gonna add that padding. So this one has an inner padding of 15. We'll do it for these two donuts as well. So 15, and this one is 15. I'm just gonna press save just in case. All right, so one of the things you'll notice with this is it's a little bit hard to read because you haven't got a good contrast. So with the other one, there's actually a black shade in the back. And what that does is it's enough contrast to read it, but the background still shines through. So it's a neat little trick. The way you do that is you select the container for all these elements. So select any element for now, double click the handle. Okay, we're gonna go into layout, and here in the background, set it to pure black. Okay, and for now it's gonna look like that. We're gonna reduce the opacity until it looks pretty good. Now you can see all my text is kind of dark. So what we want to do is make this white. Okay, so now we're going to go into here. Actually, the easier way is if you go format workbook, you can make everything white. So here in all, just go white. Okay, there you go. But the problem is sometimes you don't want white. See here in the middle, we don't want that to be white. And this one, maybe sometimes you lose a bit of contrast because this is a light pink and then on white. So maybe that's not really the best. So if I just go back, okay, because here you can see black on the lighter pink. It actually looks pretty good. So instead we're gonna do it manually. So here in this text, I'm gonna double click. I'm gonna go select all, so Control A. right? Or you can just simply highlight everything. And we're gonna switch this to white and go okay. All right, there we go. I'm gonna do it for this title. Just do it one by one. Do it for this title and go white. And here on these labels here, it's kind of a light gray. We're gonna adjust these as well. So right click format. And here in the font section, we're just gonna change the color here. And just set that to white, like so. All right, now we can go back to adjusting that black in the back. So I'm gonna double click this. All right, so now I've got that container activated. I'm gonna go into layout and we're just gonna reduce the opacity until you're happy with it. Like so. So the goal is you want it to be legible, right? So if I go too bright, see, the eye can't distinguish. So you want it to be kind of in the middle somewhere, like so. And just adjust it till everything fits together. Okay, now a few other things I've noticed. The data label is not white, so we're gonna adjust those as well. So we're gonna go into this donut. And here in the label, we're just gonna switch this to white. Okay, in here it's gonna disappear, that's okay. Let's go into the next donut. Same thing, white, last donut. I really could go for a donut now. I'm saying donut too many times. Dashboard 1, okay, you can see that's all coming together. Age range, same thing. Label, white, okay. There you go. There is your dashboard. Well done. So we are up to the last part of this tutorial, which is to publish it to Tableau Cloud or Tableau Online, as it's known to some people, as well as publishing it to Tableau Public. And we're going to do both steps. The first thing you need to know is that in order to publish to Tableau Cloud, you need a creator license, right? So that means a fully paid license. If you work in an organization, you'll already have this. If you're just someone like me who just has your own license, when you buy a creator license, you will get your own site and you have Tableau Cloud. But if you're using Tableau Public, which is the free version, you can only publish to the Tableau Public site on the website, which we will go through. So I'm here in Tableau Desktop, and the way to publish is first you have to sign into the server. So it's a little bit different for everyone depending on how the site is set up, but you go here into server and click sign in, follow the prompts, and you'll know you're in because this will change. So I'm gonna go sign in and then you'll see what mine looks like. All right, I am now signed in, and the way you can tell is if I go here, let me just zoom in if I can, you'll see that this has now changed to the site that you've accessed. From there, you can now publish the workbook. It's that simple. So we go publish workbook, and then you're gonna get a dialog box, and this tells Tableau Online where it's gonna go and various settings. So for now, I'm just gonna publish it into a default, and these are just simply folders, same as your personal PC. So I'm just gonna put into default for now. We're gonna call that Cancer Patients Tutorial. You can leave a description. You can see here in Sheets, this actually shows all the visible sheets and dashboards and stories that are in here. The best practice is actually to hide these sheets once you put them into a dashboard. And if you do that, they simply won't even be visible here, okay? But if you don't want to do that or you've forgotten, it's fine. We simply untick anything that's not a dashboard. And the easiest way to do that is select none. It will deselect everything. And then you click on only dashboards, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna go none. You can see it's now gone 0 of 7 selected. We click on only dashboards. You can see it's highlighted there. Click outside. And then we are now pretty much done. Everything else we can just leave as normal. We're gonna go publish, and then Tableau is gonna process and send it up to the cloud. So once Tableau processes it all, it will automatically open a browser. It may ask you to log in, do some authentication, just follow the prompts, and it will eventually take you to Tableau Cloud, as you can see here. Let me just maximize this. Okay, so it's saying publishing complete, and now we can actually see our dashboard online. So what this means in a corporate setting is we finish our dashboard, we want to share it with our stakeholders, we publish it to the cloud, and everyone accesses the dashboard from there, and it protects the actual dashboard. They can interact with it, and it's a really stable and controlled way of sharing data.
So now we're going to jump over and publish to Tableau Public. So we're back here in Tableau Desktop, and to publish to Tableau Public, we're going to go Server, Tableau Public, and go Save to Tableau Public As. So when we do that, it's going to prompt us for certain things and may even give us a warning about data, which we will go through. So we're going to log in first and then follow the prompts. So this is a very common warning that you're going to get when you publish to Tableau Public, because Tableau Public is a public forum online. So in order to send your dashboard up, you need to also attach the data set along with it, because Tableau Public can't access your local PC. So what we do is we create a data extract, and we do that simply by clicking this button. You can do it beforehand, but most people don't know, so you just follow this prompt. So we'll go create data extract. It's going to ask you where you want to save it, right? We just leave all these settings the same. Save settings. Where do you want to save the extract? I usually just put it into my downloads. Save, and then that's the first step. And now we try it again. Server, Tableau Public, save to Tableau Public as. Okay, now it's working. So it goes, what do you want to save it under? And then go save. It's going to process and then send us to Tableau Public. And here we are. So this is Tableau Public, and here you can see your profile with all the visualizations that you've created, and it will be in here. You can see the cancer patients tutorial. So this actually serves a few purposes, right? Two purposes that I can think of. One is it's a good way to collect everything that you work on. But secondly, if you're looking for a job, this is key, because recruiters and interviewers and people who are gonna want to employ you, they're gonna say, what have you worked on? What can you do? What's your capabilities? And you can say what you do, but it's not as good as showing them the dashboards that you've built. That is it, right? Hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Yet again, check out the website. There's more videos coming. I'm working on them all the time. I can't wait to teach you guys more. See you next time.